Good morning and welcome. Welcome everyone to the beginning of Garner's Freedom Celebration on this beautiful Saturday morning. I am your MC, Ms. Melanie Payton, and I stand before you as a proud member of Garner's Juneteenth Committee. In 2019, Mayor Ken Marshburn and the Garner Town Council authorized the formation of the Juneteenth Committee to explore the history of Juneteenth and the history of Juneteenth in Garner. Since 2019, we have sought to close the loop on the full story of freedom by observing Juneteenth with our Juneteenth celebration today and culminating with our legendary Independence Day celebration at Lake Vinson on July 3rd. As you may know, our Juneteenth observance is not just a celebration, but an annual history lesson, and I'm a former teacher. This year, we're focusing on the connection and bond between freedom and education. How ending physical enslavement birthed new and more insidious efforts to enslave the mind and break the spirit of free people. Of course, we all know full well how the soul, the spirit, and faith will always find a way and will not be denied. But the struggle is real, y'all. And the struggle to hold a country accountable to its own promises of equality, as everyone in this theater has learned and knows, is never ending. Regardless of age or race, of those of us in this space today, our fight and the progress born of that fight will be our legacy. Like those who came before all of us, their literal blood, sweat, and tears forged opportunities for those who would come behind them and for you and me. The opportunity to learn and be educated and teach, in particular, the opportunity to teach, and are those weapons that we use for fighting for everyone's continued freedom. But what good is free speech if you're not allowed to teach, denied the opportunity to learn? So, thank you for joining us on this learning and teaching journey today. Let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you our mayor, Mayor Buddy Gupton, who will read the Town of Garner's Juneteenth Proclamation.
Good morning, Garner. What a beautiful day. Yes, indeed. What a beautiful crowd out here. This is the season of freedom. And if you don't believe it, just look at my shirt. This kicks off 2 weeks of celebration. Garner knows how to do it right. We have the Juneteenth celebration today, and then on the 19th, the actual day, we close town hall and we celebrate again. Now, that's not enough. 2 weeks. And then just to double down on that, 2 weeks later, Garner again gets to jump on the rest of the world by celebrating July 4th on July the 3rd with the NC Symphony Orchestra at Lake Vinson Park. Be there or be square. Then you still get the next day off, 4th of July. So this is Garner we love. What a place to be. And what a great bunch of people have pulled this together here. It's my honor to be able to read the proclamation. And it's really one of my favorites because it tells a great story, the story of Juneteenth. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring enslaved people in Confederate-controlled territory free and paving the way for passage of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States. And whereas enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed up to almost 2.5 years in some Confederate territory, and by more than 2 years in the area that would become Garner. And whereas on June 19th, 1865, Union Major General Gordon Granger read to the people of Galveston, Texas, General Order Number 3, which stated, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves." And whereas June 19th thus has acquired special meaning and it's called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated as Freedom Day by many African Americans for over 150 years. And whereas in Wake County, there were more than 10,000 enslaved people, nearly 2/5 of the county's population, recorded in the 1860 census. And whereas these citizens contributed greatly to the prosperity and development of the area that would become Garner, both during their enslavement and after they were free. And whereas the creation of the Garner Juneteenth Committee was authorized by this town council to raise awareness about Juneteenth and about other information that places Juneteenth in historical context. And whereas the United States celebrates its freedom from tyranny on July 4th, 1776, but we acknowledge that not all Americans were free on that day. Therefore, Juneteenth should be celebrated alongside July 4th, Independence Day, and not in lieu of. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Gupton, Mayor of the town of Garner, do hereby proclaim June 19th as Juneteenth Freedom Day. And I have to give one more shout out here. You'll hear their names read later. That's the Juneteenth Committee that has been working behind the scenes for weeks, months, even years putting this together. You're about to see some of the most talented people you've ever seen telling one of the most inspirational stories of all time. And let's please give all of them a big hand right now.
I'm trying to get ready. I'm trying to get ready. Ready to try on my long white road. Y'all sing this with me if you know it. I'm trying to get ready, trying to get ready, trying to get ready, oh, ready to try on my long white road. I'm trying to get ready. Say it loud, come on. I'm trying to get ready. Sounds good. I'm trying to get ready. Whoa, ready to travel my long white road. I'm trying to get ready. I'm trying to get ready. I'm trying to get ready. Whoa, ready to travel my long white road. Give yourself a hand. This year's commemoration of Juneteenth culminates, of course, with the theme of education. Primarily, I'm going to start with before the Civil War. We understand that it was forbidden for slaves to learn to read and write. They dreamed of being able to read or to write. Literacy seemed to be, to many of the enslaved, the key component of dominance, meaning to understand, to read and write was almost magical. The ability to read and write kept people in power as it had appeared to them. Some slaves imagined, wrote John Seller Martin, he said, I could not get it out of my head that the readers were talking to the paper rather than the paper talking to them. Some slave masters allowed or encouraged slaves to read because they wanted them to read just enough to get the work done. They needed them to understand certain recipes or follow maps. Even some were taught arithmetic in order for them to count rails or stock. If a slave master was inclined to improve his slave state of being, he actually was walking over into forbidden territory. Because here in North Carolina and other southern states, it literally was outlawed. If a slave was caught with a paper in his hand, he would surely be whipped, said Ellen Butts. On the account in terms of arithmetic, the ban against it was initially established that they couldn't even learn to count. Edward Walker worked out a complicated mathematical problem in his head one day while working with his master. His master tried to check the answer, but got stuck. When Walker showed him how he arrived at the answer, the master told him, "Oh, that don't amount to nothing much." But then he turned to the overseer and said to him, "We better watch that Walker very closely from here on out." Many of the children, white children, called teaching the enslaved children how to read and write, making them civilized, while many enslaved children literally picked up early. It is stated historically that after children got off of the enslaved boats here on the ports of Charleston, and when they migrated to North Carolina and other states, that within 6 months they were already understanding English. Whereas you have many that came off of the ship that came from different tribes that had different customs and several different languages. We had the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Wolof tribes, all from different tribes, all from different languages. But the children were able to communicate English in less than 6 months. Nat Turner, with his revolt, sought out slaves to read, and this frightened many whites because they knew that that would cause trouble if they could read the information that was being disseminated. We often hear the commercials that reading is fundamental. We have to understand the power that it is to be able to read. There's power in that. Here, then we understand that a culmination of things begin to occur, and that there's this problem with humanity. There's an uprising with this idea of selling human beings. There's this uprising that in North Carolina, Fayetteville, Smithfield, these different auction blocks. There's a problem now as time has progressed. Nobody knows the troubles I see. Nobody knows the sorrow. Nobody knows the troubles I see burn. Glory, hallelujah. The Civil War begins. It begins up out of this issue of slavery. It begins because of this economic power that people are attaining because of having free labor. This sparked and ignited the Civil War. The Confederacy began to shed their American identity and cloak themselves in their Confederate nationalism with their ideals and their vision of maintaining slavery. The Confederacy, understand this, young people, wanted to maintain slavery. Let's not get it twisted. That's just a side. Confederate Vice President Alexander Stephens in 1861 said, "Our new government is founded upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition." At this juncture, President Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to serve for 3 months to oppose this rebellion, and the American Civil War begins. But even during this era of contraband, with all of the toil, with all the labor, with all the problems, the house that even President Lincoln laid his head was built on the backs of black slaves while under the brutal lash. Many enslaved knew that they were no different than the Hebrew slaves that built Pharaoh's pyramids. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt. to let my people go. The testimonies of Richard Lawrence, who was actually owned by Mary Lawrence, Abraham Galloway, and many others in Wilmington, North Carolina, begin to understand that even during the war, that as slaves began to escape and run to Union lines, they were at a position now that they were still eager to learn. Even as contraband, they began to have schools, even in those conditions. They began to teach the enslaved how to read and how to write. And so, the spies of Wilmington, North Carolina, the enslaved, he said, Abraham Galloway said, the enslaved people are a whirlwind. They are the thunder. They are the lightning. They are the downpour. They are the great deluge that shudders rocks and washes away stone. Although there's an increasing number of army commanders reporting that the number of formerly enslaved have escaped to freedom behind enemy lines, they are literally believing that they are going to fight to win against this opposition of the Confederacy. Lord, come on, choir. Why come me here? Lord, why come me here? Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, every year we focus our efforts on the inclusion of many voices because one cannot learn unless one is willing to listen. The voice of the young and the old, family members, strangers, and new friends creates the dialogue that not just makes community, but makes them strong. This year, under the leadership of Dr. Cleopatra Lakeswell, a new voice, a collective voice, was formed from across the greater Garner community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Juneteenth Choir.
God's gonna trouble them another hand. Young people, act like it. Come on, come on. It's good to see our young people understanding the history and participating. So in Wilmington, North Carolina, we understand that there were spies that lived there in Wilmington. Abraham Galloway. The textbooks don't really talk about it the way that they should, but he was very instrumental in terms of what went on in terms of the Union Army. Every day, they walked past as they were manipulating and undermining the Confederacy. They understood and began to see slave pens. Every incident of seeing women or children in chains around their neck as they were being sold for thousands of dollars, but yet little of nothing in terms of concern or how that would affect being at the will of the slave masters here in North Carolina. As I aforementioned, Smithfield's auction block, Fayetteville, just to name a few. The faces, the mothers, the daughters, the friends, as sold as property. I couldn't hear nobody pray. I couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. I was way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. Come on and clap with me. I couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. I was way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. Down on my knees, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Listen, sing with me. I couldn't hear nobody pray. Very good. I couldn't hear nobody pray. I was way down yonder by myself and couldn't hear nobody pray. Down on my knees, I couldn't hear nobody pray. When, Lordy, Lord, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Well, I couldn't hear nobody pray. I was way down yonder by myself and couldn't hear nobody pray. Down on my knees, I couldn't hear nobody pray. In the morning, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Down on my knees, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Lordy, Lordy, way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. In May of 1861, General Benjamin Butler went over the superior's heads, and he began at this point to understand that the fugitives were actually coming over to fight. And so therefore he decided that he needed to go over their head and make a statement in terms of seizing them as contraband. He felt like he had a right to seize them because anytime you're fighting against the enemy and there are horses or cannons or anything in war, you can take those things as contraband. So that's what he did in terms of the slaves. Once a slave escaped to Union lines, their master's claim was nullified. Therefore, they lived in contraband camps. After 5,000 men, as a result of a meeting, after being there and participating, and actually participating not necessarily in terms of even with weaponry, but as participating in whatever means, Edward Kinsley began to form what was considered the regiments of the United States Colored Troops, a proclamation that issued that 186,000 African American men and women in disguise, were available and ready to fight in the Civil War. They began to title the regiments the 35th, 36th, and 37th Regiment of the United States Colored Troops. Even as contraband, they saw their Canaan. They saw this as a representation of freedom, and they began to fight for what they believed. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder of the cross. Come on, let's sing it. Will you think I do think? Make a soldier. Do you think I make a soldier? Sounds good? Soldier. We're soldiers of the cross. We are climbing. We are Jacob's ladder. Yes, we are Jacob's ladder. Good. We are Jacob's ladder. We're soldiers of the cross. On January 1, 1863, which of course, as our mayor stated, was Freedom's Eve. On the night, December 31st, 1862, enslaved and free African Americans gathered. They gathered in secret. They wanted to ring in the new year, to await the news of the Emancipation Proclamation. A few months earlier, on September 22nd, President Lincoln issued an executive order declaring enslaved people in the rebelling Confederate States were legally free. The occasion known as Watch Night or Freedom's Eve, but many African American families and communities and churches label it as Watch Night. African Americans across the country watched and waited for news of freedom. Today, Watch Night service is a tradition that includes the memory of slavery and freedom, a reflection of faith, and a celebration of community, and a celebration of how I made it over if I make it to the new year. On the 31st of December, African Americans gathered in churches, private homes, slave quarters, awaiting the news. Frederick Douglass says, "It is a day of poetry, a song, a new song. These cloudless skies, this balmy air, this brilliant sunshine are in harmony with the glorious morning of liberty that is about to dawn upon us." Union soldiers marched into plantations and cities, reading copies of the Emancipation, spreading the news of freedom. Over my head, I hear freedom in the air. Over my head, I hear freedom in the air. Over my head, I hear freedom in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
All right, walk the streets of the city. Let's do one in G first.
I thought I sung that in C because it was, you know, we had a little conflict or whatever.
3 years ago, I had problems with circulation on my left leg, so I had to have it amputated below the knee. Every key I hit encouraged me to continue on.
Sing, Mom.
Oh, the time he was there.
He was there.
Oh, the time.
All the time.
He was waiting patiently, waiting patiently. He was waiting patiently. Oh, in line. He was.
It truly can be timeless. Music can transcend space and time. This record feels alive. You can feel this record. You can sit in the room with this record and it feels like you are there.
This young lady, Miss May Perry, said in a quote, "Music is comfort, and it's like you taking medication. Music lifts the heavy burdens," she says. "When you sing it the old way, you're really meaning what you're talking about." Miss Lena May Perry. She's the founder of the Branchettes and draws from the African American traditions of congregational hymns and singing. Many who were a part of the group have gone on now, but she's still here singing the songs of Zion. She has sung these songs for decades while traveling from church to church, church anniversaries, church programs, Sunday after Sunday. When I began to think about how I met her or got to know her, I could not think back how far. I've known her all my life, so I couldn't think far enough back in terms of just isolating one day. But she has done so much for her community. She's never neglected to raise her voice in song, to heal the brokenhearted, and to mend the wounded soul. The group released several CDs and have been featured on numerous programs, traveled this continent to its breadth and length. She's got lots of nicknames. I call her Miss May. Some others have greater privilege and call her Mom. Some others, Miss Perry. But either way, she always has enough love and patience with us all to actually respond to us. She makes each of us feel that we're the only person in her life at that moment, at that time. She makes us all feel very special. She has the capacity to be very attentive. Although she's known throughout the South and abroad, her beautiful voice and spirit has maintained the same mission: to lift the weary heart. Her recent documentary shows her in this light. Her love and passion for music she sings comes through. Her love for people comes through as well. She loves people and takes the time to talk to you, to share a word of encouragement, to share prayer, to share a song. She retells the stories through the biblical stories through song of African American tradition and keeps this music alive. For me, as I stated, I've known her all my life, as far back as I can recall. The traditions of singing these songs are steeped in our tradition, and they really just don't fit just anywhere. I remember talking to her many, many years ago because I love this tradition of the spirituals and the hymns and the older music. And there were places where I had been rejected because I wasn't singing contemporary enough. But Miss May would always tell me, "Mary, keep singing those songs. You don't even really need any music. Just keep singing." She affirmed me and gave me what I needed to go forward, and having not known how many doors would begin to open for me as I continue to carry on this tradition. Today, Miss May, want to honor you this day. I'm going to be in trouble. So today, we want to honor. We honor your steadfast dedication to the tradition of this music, the traditional gospel music, your contributions to the community that you have been shared today, here, and abroad, and always know that you have impacted not just like my life, but many, many others. So our mayor is coming now to honor you. Where is he? Right behind you. Proclamation. This is all this whole time. Don't get fussed out over that.
You know it all the time.
Okay, don't fuss out. Impact our lives and many others. So we want to thank you for everything that you've offered. Also, we have flowers for you. Would you all stand with me, please, and honor Miss May Perry of the Great Day? You want to say anything?
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you. I didn't know all this. I thought, we was coming to the program and we're gonna listen to all these other people, the New Bethel and New Bethel. If they knew about it, they kept it, but they come and sung, and I come to, recognize them today. I just don't know what to say. But I'm very thankful that I'm still on this side.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing all I can to please God. I can't please the people now, but I do all I can to please God. And when we get through and get out of here, and my daughter walking around at my house, not telling me anything, and if any of the rest of them know, we're going to have it going on when I get back to the house. Thank you, Mary. You know I love you. And thank the town of Garner. Now, I love the town of Garner, all that stuff that got there, but it don't keep me from getting nowhere to the senior center. I love the senior center. We have such a good time over there. And when the governor, I was trying to think, I was asking this man now, who is the governor, or the mayor, who's that? And he told me, well, they done changed. But I am so grateful. I am so thankful that God has been good to me. He's opened doors for me, and I'm just grateful. I can have a good time walking up down my driveway. But you don't want your neighbor to think you're crazy, but I am so grateful. And my daughter, Lord have mercy, we'll talk about this when we get back. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
How special. And we just want to make you guys aware that this is our very first Heritage Award. So we could not have thought of anyone else who deserved this more. So please, one more time, just give it up for Ms. Perry. On the back of your programs, you're going to find the lyrics to Lift Every Voice and Sing. On the back of your programs, you're going to find the lyrics to Lift Every Voice and Sing. So at this time, we ask that you would please join Ms. Perry, Professor Williams, and our choir as we all sing, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven
love it. The struggle for freedom and education for blacks in America is one of wins and losses, progress and setbacks, separate and unequal, and sometimes bloodshed. How do the souls of people survive in the face of often overwhelming forces, lynch mobs, Jim Crow, coups, political upheaval, and social unrest? Better yet, how do they not just survive, but also thrive? Often to move forward, we must look back and see where we've come from in order to know where we're going. The power of storytelling is to carry spirits forward and renew us with the belief and hope that, like our forebearers, we can and must stand up. At this time, it is my pleasure to present to you TJ and Company.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I had to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars
of what it means to be a citizen and the rights and privileges. Something as simple to us as signing their name, they could not do. They were unable to do. After emancipation, it was a belief that the high aspirations were unattainable and that any advancement was unwelcome, and therein begins many colleges. We understand that during the Civil War, some of these things were already in the process. All Saints School. They were having schools in dilapidated slave quarters, down in the bottom of basements of plantation homes, anticipating emancipation. And the Church of God in Christ established the All Saints Schools, universities, training schools established during this period in history. Howard University in Washington, Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, Shaw University here in Raleigh, Hampton and the Hampton Normal Industrial Institute in Virginia, and the Tuskegee Institute. In 1865, many people like Henry and Nanny Delaney, their family learned a trade mostly. Mr. Delaney's brothers were brick masons, harbor pilots. Some taught school while many worked in somebody's field as a sharecropper. But while Henry Delaney decided that he would go to school, the Delaneys were staunch Methodists. They believed in that, but they met one day an Episcopal priest. His name was Reverend Owen Thackeray. And he said to him, "Henry, you should go to college." Henry, although fearful, didn't fall into this right, resigning himself to being a field hand or picking up this trade. He began to think of his options and jumped at the chance. The idea was mind-blowing, but he knew education, as many African Americans after emancipation realized education was the answer, and it still is today, I might add. The Delaney family started growing up, and at that time when Mr. Thackeray helped him, after he gave the solid yes, helped him enroll in St. Augustine's School in Raleigh, North Carolina. St. Augustine's was founded in 1867, just a few years after the Civil War ended. The Delaney family stayed on the campus, and they loved the atmosphere. They often talked about how that the school taught us to reach for the high. Henry Bernard Delaney was given a Bible by his parents once he graduated from St. Aug. And St. Aug at this time was a seminary school and a school for teachers. A family by the name of Smedes founded St. Aug as a school for Negroes and another Episcopal school for whites, St. Mary's, on the other side of the town. It was said that one of the Smead brothers would literally ride onto St. Aug's campus quite often. He would ride on his horse. Once he got on campus, he would get down, take his hat off, and bow to the ground at the feet of the many African American students that were at St. Aug, with his hat almost touching the ground. How strange it was to see a white man bowing to colored students, said Sarah Delaney. The Delaney family lived on campus, and the atmosphere there was about 300 students. But Miss Delaney says in her autobiography, Having Our Say, the Delaney sisters, she says that reading and writing and thinking was going on that place. Today we have been inspired by song, we've been inspired by artistry from our young folks, the tradition of African American culture that is through oral 14th Amendment. 1968, North Carolina schools were still entirely segregated. What year did I give y'all? Okay, but what year did the proclamation go for? 1954, y'all are listening. Garner hadn't moved any closer to embracing the mandate, nor had the rest of the state. It took 15 years after the ruling of the school systems to choose then a different angle in terms of school desegregation. They choose freedom of choice concepts. This allowed what was called token black students to apply at white schools rather than committing to integration. The changes were filed with success and with turmoil. Many believed in establishing desegregation was the answer to social harmony in schools. Many of the black schools got consolidated, and others, there was such a shift. But here, even in Garner now, we have a better program. And in conclusion, we understand now that freedom has come, but there's still work to do. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not tired yet, and I don't know about you. This may be my last time. This may be my last time to go. This may be my last time. Maybe my last time. I just don't know. This may be my last time. This may be my last time. This may be my last time. Well, it may be my last time. I don't know. Oh, this may be my last time. Sounds good. This may be my last time. Oh, this may be my last time. Well, it may be my last time. I don't know.
First, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out on this beautiful Saturday to celebrate not just Juneteenth with us, but to celebrate freedom. Garner, we celebrate freedom today. I'd also like to thank all of our staff and volunteers in the town of Garner, the communications department. Thank y'all, you're amazing. The Garner Department of Parks and Recreation and Cultural Resources, and the GPAC staff. Thank you all so much. Before I step out of the way specifically, let me thank Rick Mercer, the communications manager who has gone above and beyond this year. Thank you so much, Rick. Kyle Kettler, communications specialist, and John Sheeran, theater and marketing supervisor. We'd also like to thank our fellow Juneteenth committee members. Y'all help me love on them. Pastor Ben Atkins, James Dillinger, Ernestine Durham, Dr. Cynthia Lacewell, and Neil Patrick. Thank you all so much. And last but not least, we got to give it up for this young lady that's given us all she had today, for Professor Mary Williams. Let's show her some love. Thank you. We would also like to thank sincerely all of our performers for bringing their passions and talents to Garner and being a part of our community for this amazing celebration. And y'all, don't forget, you have to join us on July 3rd at Lake Benson Park for Garner's Independence Day celebration with the North Carolina Symphony, food, fun, and of course, fireworks. We're excited. To close out our program, please welcome once again the Garner Juneteenth Choir as they perform Optimistic.
the Grammy-winning track Optimistic, placing third in the 1991 R&B charts, inspired perseverance and prosperity in the Black community.
In 1865, slavery had been officially abolished throughout the country, enforcing freedom for all Americans. Recently, as of 2021, Juneteenth has been deemed a federal holiday and is celebrated throughout America. Don't